Honey, where are you going?
Where are you going?
Again? Just where are you going?
Where are you going? You're not going to the bar again, are you?
You like hanging out, drinking beer at the bar, talking sports? Come on out and join us weekly. Guys at the Bar Talking Sports, your podcast for just that. Hanging out, drinking some beer, talking sports.
Are you really doing season 4 of that stupid podcast?
Y'all know the name of the show. It's Guys at the Bar Talking Sports. And what do guys do when they talk sports at the bar? They drink beer. So if you want to buy us a beer, you can Venmo us. The Venmo is at Guys at the Bar Talking Sports. Hey, everyone, for tuning in to another week of Guys at the Bar Talking Sports. Neighborhood friends who get together weekly at the Neighborhood Watering Hole, MJ's Bar and Grill in Columbia, South Carolina, with some brews and a microphone. And someone's about to break out smiling as it is already before I even start the show. None of that stuff, my man. None of that stuff. Hey, stay tuned as we discuss week 9 of college football. We got Oregon at Utah, BYU at Texas, Florida versus Georgia, Ohio State and Wisconsin, and other potential upsets for the week. Feel free to share the show with your friends, subscribe, and give us a positive reviews on your favorite podcast app. We have a Facebook group called Guys at the Bar Talking Sports. Feel free to join that as well. We always love having people buy us beer. We love having people buy us around some beers. We have Beth Becker buy us around a beer tonight already. And then we had
now you
one
gotta say
guy.
War Damn Eagle for her.
War Damn, I'll say it. War Damn Eagle.
Right.
That's right. All right. We also have a supporter, Will Farrell, supporting our beer habit this week. Sent us some money because he has very bad game prediction skills. And
we found a sucker.
We found a sucker. Thank you, Will Farrell. We'll drink some beer on you as well tonight as well. He did Venmo us, and that was the Venmo handle that he used was at Guys at the Bar Talking Sports. So if you want to Venmo us some cash, go ahead and do it.
And we'll still give him a go Rocky Top just because for.
No, he's a bulldog, and I am not saying.
Oh, fair
I mean,
enough.
I'm going to drink
George.
the beer he provided, but I'm not going to drink the beer on him. You can do belly shots all you want.
Roof, 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 roof. Is that what you're supposed to do?
Yeah, fair enough.
Man? Or some crap? I don't know.
While your significant other acts like they're pulling back your leash at your collar.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so let's get some introductions going here, shall we? We have my man, I can't tell you why, but Chopper drinks the beers that he does, but they always seem to be good. What are you drinking, Chopper?
Darn right. Cold beer is always good. I'm drinking Guinness tonight. What's going on?
And he really likes NSYNC too.
He does. All right. This is the guy who likes to take it to the limit and right on the edge of crazy. You get it? All right. Right on the edge of the crazy. Right on the edge of crazy is where a Rebel goes every time. What are you drinking, Rebel?
You tell me when I'm drinking.
I don't even know anymore.
Makers and Diet, always.
Man, I was found out so quickly on that. All right. So let's move on. Some people just give me a peaceful, easy feeling when they are here. And because I know he's got great things to say, and that's my man, Rooster.
That's how I feel about this whole crowd.
That would hurt me. I mean, I'd be concerned if I were you right now.
What are you drinking, Rooster?
Thinking about giving him a warm hug. Just a little bourbon and ginger ale.
All right. This guy has had no more cloudy days as he's traveled all over the South the last few weeks. Welcome back, Who's Your Daddy? What are you drinking?
Glad to be back with a Miller Lite.
All right. Who do I got next? All right. Our lady who may have stayed in the Hotel California before, but we have her here. Her name is Cheeks. What are you drinking, Cheeks?
I'm drinking the last of the banana bread.
Oh, monkey butt.
Sad day.
They had it on tap?
Had.
You didn't see it?
I got a whole week.
And I'm definitely not the new kid in town. I'm your boy Hanger, and I'm drinking a all-day IPA. Oh, I forgot all about him. This is the guy that lives life in the fast lane lately as he goes to all these fishing tournaments. But he's back on the show as well. What are you drinking there, Ripper, the Predictor?
Well, there's going to be a heartache tonight, but I am drinking Warsteiner Dunkel, and I think it's the best beer I've ever had in my entire
Can
life.
you spell that?
It's that
Yeah.
good, really?
It's with a W. It's with a W.
Warsteiner, and then Dunkel, Dunkel.
I thought you were going to say DOGSHIT is what I thought you were going to say, but that's okay.
I'm impressed.
It's amazing.
I'm impressed that you caught on to my thing so fast, Chase.
I feel like
I got it when you started with.
you've almost taught us a secret language we can't speak with anyone else.
I know. So that being said, I'm going to do this every week. Whoever gets it gets a beer. And it took me like 30 minutes to figure this thing out, but it was just fun. And next week I'll do a different
Let
thing.
a listener figure it out next time, not
That's
us.
right. But this is a sports show, not a music show.
Pretty upfront on it.
So we're going to go ahead and get into some sports, some questions from the web, shall we? The first question I got comes from my own brain that I saw on the web somewhere. I don't know where it was, but it came to this, right? Will a 12-team playoff take some of the excitement out of the big matchups in the season? For example, you have Texas and Oklahoma, the Red River rivalry. Those two teams are both undefeated going into that game. One team left. But that other team that lost may have the ability to say, hey, you know what, I can still make it in that 12 team. So we're not going to play as hard. Maybe it's not going to be as good for the fans. What say you, Ripper, who has not been on the show for a while? I'm going to give you first call on this one.
All right, so I don't think it's going to dilute any of those games at all. If you think about some of those teams you mentioned, they're going to other conferences. They're going to have a more difficult time making a 12-team playoff because you're not going to have more than likely, unless you're the SEC, 6 teams getting into a 12-team playoff format. So those games are going to be just as important, just as exciting, maybe even more so, because you might be able to lose 2 games and make the playoffs. It's going to be tough for you to lose 3-4 games and still make that top 12.
You have LSU right now. I think they're in the top. No, they're not in the top 12 right now, but they very well could be. You could have several top 2-loss teams, even maybe a 3-loss team in that top 12 at the end of the season, depending upon the strength of schedule, how those 3 games that they lost went, and so forth. But that could really, I was thinking about it could dilute those big games, especially at the end of the season when you have like Florida State playing and they're both top ranked. Each of them might have 1 loss. So I see Rebel over there shaking his head.
I don't know about that.
I think you're about to get violent on me, man.
No, you're not going to dilute anything. Because here's the thing you're going to get is they're going to be playing for 2 different things. So during the season, you're playing because you want to be, if you're going to rank them 1 to 12, you want to be a 1, 2, 3, 4 because you're going to get a first round bye. You want to be a 5, 6, 7 because you'll get Cincinnati, you'll get James Madison, you'll get a group of 5 school in the first round versus having to play these tougher teams. So you still have a lot to play for. But to the point you made, Oklahoma, Texas, okay, Michigan, Ohio State last year is an even better example. That great game, now you have a very good chance you get to see it again. And in a 12-team format, they're not going to care if they butt heads again. Last year, and I've said it then, Michigan, Ohio State should have been playing in the first round if they'd have ranked them how they should have been ranked last year, but they did not want to do that back-to-back. They would have rather seen them play for a national championship. But when you put them in a 12-team playoff, they're going to line them up and let the chips fall how they fall. So these really good in-season games, or even better yet, let's use Michigan, Ohio State again. Let's say, like last year, Michigan got a hold of Ohio State and rolled them. Can you imagine watching them 2 play again 4 weeks later and all the build up to that game?
But would you want to watch them 4 weeks later? I know Who's Your Daddy would. I know that Ripper the Predictor would.
I wouldn't.
I don't know that I would want to see that game again. It's kind of like Florida State back in 1995. They played regular season. Florida State whooped them, and then they played 5 weeks later in the national championship, and Florida beats them. Exciting for me, a Gator fan, to see that happen.
Again, you wouldn't see that in the first round of a playoff, but you would see the build-up, seeing them 2 coming back together to do it again. Here's the example I can use with this. Let's go to a basketball example. North Carolina and Duke 2 years ago played twice. They were great games. And then all of a sudden, the way the chips fell, they played again in the Final Four, one of the highest-rated games ever in an NCAA tournament because of the build-up and the rivalries.
Ripper.
And one more thing, let's not forget about why those games still matter. Not only are they playing for a playoff spot, they're playing for a bye in the playoffs. Those top 4 teams.
Okay, yeah.
So it still matters quite a bit. Or you're going to find yourself as a 12 seed facing a number 5 seed, which is going to be a more difficult matchup than if you're a 5-8 versus a 12.
Okay.
Yeah, and people might say they don't want to see these games, but at the end of the day, with these big games, seeing them twice, people are going to go to these games.
Yeah,
all day long.
And the revenge factor is going to kick in for the team.
Yeah,
that loses
and beating a rivalry team twice in a row, very hard to do.
I guarantee Stallions will be there.
Very hard to do.
Okay, so Rooster, you're very silent over there. I think that you're either not interested in this topic or you got a lot to say.
No, I am concerned about the 12-team format. I know it's not a popular opinion.
You're on my side.
I am not a huge fan of the 12-team playoff program. It's college football. We're getting further and further away from college football. So I do feel like I don't know if it's going to be diluted. I think there's still going to be a lot of excitement. I get 3 more weeks out of football season, so I'm going to watch. But I just don't think it's in the spirit of amateur football to do the format that they're doing. And when you're looking at it, I think D2 is doing, or not, I don't think, I know that they're doing a playoff format, but Division One, these guys are playing against 3 very hard teams in a row, week over week after week. I mean, I'm sure they'll have a week between before, but you're talking about these kids beating the crap out of each other for 3 straight weeks, and I think it's going to be difficult for the good teams to stay healthy, stay strong, and really show that kids, it's about not just football, it's also about school.
So let me say this. One positive thing that you just said is 3 more weeks of football in December. And for me, I look at that as 3 more weeks of Guys in the Bar Talking Sports, baby, and more advertisers and more beers bought for us.
All I'm going to say to this is the 1A, as we'll call it, or bowl champ, whatever the hell you want to call it, they're the only ones that have not been doing this system for 25 years. And at the other levels, it's worked beautifully. It worked through. You have the excitement of the best 2 teams end up playing. You even have those moments such as in 1997 where UMass was a 14 seed, got a few upsets, and ran the table with 4 losses and won the national championship at a 1AA level.
You're the only person in America that remembers that.
Yes. So, hey. So therefore,
it was a junior in college.
Yes.
And then in a couple of years after that, they go to the 16-team playoff, and then
so that's where I was going. So that's where I was going with that is they just don't. So the playoff system works. They can't just do what they've done with the lower divisions to try to generate money, where it went from 8. This 12 to 16, and now I think at 1AA or FCS, it's like 20 teams where you have all these little play-in game stuff like this. At that point, that's ridiculous.
I'm just saying there's something to be said about the traditional style. When you grew up, you watched bowl games on New Year's Eve, and then you watched bowl games on New Year's Day. That was kind of like an American tradition, and I think this, if it dilutes anything, it just dilutes my childhood dreams. It all started when I was in 3rd grade. We don't want to talk about it.
I
don't want to know what dreams he's talking about.
Well, when you're in 3rd grade, when you're in 3rd grade, they're not those kind
of
dreams.
What did that bad man do to you?
Moving aggressive. Candy, I need another drink.
Let's move over to the next question, because I think we beat this dead horse, and it's laying on the ground out there in the road right now. Which teams are still viable for a playoff run? And this is catching you all by surprise. I did not have this on our list of things to talk about. But you got Georgia, FSU, Michigan, Ohio State, Washington, and Oklahoma all undefeated. And then you have the next 7, Texas, Oregon, Alabama, Penn State, Oregon State, Ole Miss, Utah are all 1 loss. But then you even have UNC, Mizzou, and LSU that are all viable candidates to win their conference right now in some ways. So
Air Force?
Even Louisville, right? Air Force is not going to make it, but I mean they might. Who knows? But if you look at that, is there going into week 9? Do we even have someone that's going to make it to the playoffs for sure? Because Georgia, we think that they're strong enough, but I've seen the way they play. They're not playing the way they have been.
Georgia goes down this weekend.
They do, and you're the only person on my side. Okay.
And loses in the SEC championship. And maybe another one. They probably have 2, maybe 3 losses.
Because
they're not making. Georgia's not making. Georgia's not making the Final Four.
I think if there's any close to being clear cut, especially after Virginia doing what they did in North Carolina last week, it's Florida State. Because
UNC can come in and beat Florida State.
They could, but I'm saying there was some doubt they got playing. They were a 24-point favorite and they got whipped. I mean, they got played the entire game. And then you want to go into the Big Ten. Look, Penn State lost a heartbreaker that you could argue a really bad call did that, but they could go in and beat Michigan, and then Ohio State turns around and Michigan turns around and beats Ohio State, so they all have 1 loss. And so therefore, you just don't know. There's no setting. What's that?
What was a bad call?
was the hold that prevented the fumble recovery for the touchdown for Penn State. That one was questionable because that changed the complete tone of that game. I'm not saying it wasn't. It was just a backside play on this thing.
But let's stay on topic.
So the point being is, of any of the teams I think that have the clearest path, there is Florida State at this point.
I agree with that. With the Oregon Ducks.
Yeah, FSU.
Oregon Ducks.
No, they lose to Oregon State.
I know.
They lose to Oregon State
Still,
too.
Washington.
No,
Washington
Oregon still gets in with Washington. Yeah.
So, but Washington has to go undefeated in order to stay relevant right now, and they have a tough schedule ahead of them as well, and they got to win the Pac-12.
Yes.
I would say. So, Ripper, go.
Oklahoma does not have a ranked team left on their schedule.
Fair point.
But Oklahoma, we'll get into this
They
later,
won.
But yeah, that's true.
They
That's
won.
true. But they're going to be playing in the Big 12 championship as well. It'll probably be Texas they play, and if that's the case, that's not so cut and dry either.
No, but I would say they have the easiest path to the playoffs.
Yeah, okay. We'll
More than
say
Florida
that.
State.
Yeah.
So-
They got Miami, probably Clemson.
Let's go to the SEC. What if LSU wins the West, 2 losses, and they play Georgia and beat an undefeated Georgia? Does LSU get in as the SEC champion?
Wow.
I think you're going to have. They're going to have help. They'll have to have help from somebody else, some losses. But I think if there's anybody, if there's a path to argue a 2-loss team doing it, that would be the path to do it. But they would still have to have some help. Like Washington has to lose, Florida State would need to lose. You would have to have some help.
I think there's enough teams that you just listed right there that would finish ahead of LSU in that case. That's exactly the reason why I don't think the SEC is going to have a team as much of an SEC homer as I am.
And that's being said among talking heads right now, is that there is a possibility, and you were 4 weeks ahead on this. There is a possibility there could be a no SEC team in the top 4.
Well, I think this is the first year you've heard people almost rooting for that, because it's not clear cut that the SEC is such a better conference than everybody based off the results this year. In the past, it's like that's the best conference. Everybody else falls in line. You've got to get the champion. You got to get 1 or 2 in. This year, not so much.
I mean,
so
Alabama could very well lose to Auburn, and beat Georgia in the SEC championship, win the SEC, and not go. For real.
Anything can happen this season.
For
it
real.
feels like last season was a little
Yeah.
crazy. This season seems a little bit less cut and dry.
To answer the question, though, if LSU is a 2-loss, with everybody else doing what they should do, Washington, US, exactly, there's not a path for a 2-loss team to be in that top 4.
Okay, I got you. So, we've been doing these things called the Words of the Day. Have you been here for the Words of the Day already? Have you been here for the Words of the Day, Hoosier? Okay, Hoosier Daddy. So, this is all about last week. We're going to look back at the last week's games a little bit, you know. Unexpected is the first word that I got. And was there anything unexpected for you last weekend, Rooster?
Yeah, somebody already stole the thunder on this one, but I'm sitting there watching that UVA game, and I'm just wondering what the heck is going on in Chapel Hill. So,
I don't know what happened.
I will tell you that Virginia, I think, is an improving team. So kudos to their coaching staff, because I think that's a team that nobody really had anything on. They've played well the last 3 weeks, to be honest with you. They just haven't been able to put a win together, put a complete game together. And last week they did it. They brought it to UNC, put May under pressure a heck of a lot more than he's seen in the past. He didn't react to the pressure as well as he's done in the past, and missed a lot of what I'll call easy passes.
Yeah.
So I will say that hurt not only UNC's national championship hopes, but also May's Heisman hopes.
Yeah. Sure, okay. Did anyone else have that UVA and UNC game on any other words of the day?
That was on my unexpected too.
Unexpected, okay, gotcha.
Well, I almost had it on damn, because growing up a UNC fan, growing up in North Carolina, traditionally they're not a football program.
Yeah.
But you can go back and look historically when they have put it together and put a football team on the field, such as even last year, to where they had an opportunity to do something special. They will stump their toe against a garbage team like Virginia.
Wow.
Garbage team on paper like Virginia.
Yeah.
Last year it was NC State. NC State rolled them late in the season that kept them out of in the contention or the conversation.
Yeah.
So every year they put it together football-wise, they find a way to screw it up.
So, go ahead.
Duke actually played Florida State pretty close till
That
the
was-
end.
that was
Till the
unexpected
end,
for
right?
you.
Unexpected, right? I mean, I totally thought Florida State would go in, and they ended up beating them soundly. However, Duke actually played them a pretty good little
First half,
game.
it was all Duke.
Good
It
game.
really should have been
Good
ahead by
game,
more.
Duke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So close to your heart, my unexpected. UCF gave Oklahoma all they wanted. All they wanted.
Yeah.
I mean, had opportunities and gave them all they wanted.
They did, and that's why I think Oklahoma is beatable. That's all I got to say on that.
Now, I'll just say this. I think Oklahoma went to sleep. UCF wasn't expected to come in there and do everything they did. But also remember that the Oklahoma quarterback is
You can't sleep on the 2019 national champions or whatever.
self-proclaimed. But yeah, I mean, you got to remember, UCF was highly motivated playing against their former quarterback, a transfer over to Oklahoma. So while it was surprising, I don't know if it was unexpected. UCF can put a good team on the field, and I think they will this week. They're already favored against West Virginia.
All right, so damn, who's your daddy? You know what? I'm gonna let Cheeks take this one first. Cheeks, what game had you saying damn last week?
I changed it to damn it.
Damn it! Oh.
I know where this is going.
And that would be the USC game, especially the very end of it when I thought that we might get it, and then they kicked a field goal and Utah won.
Yeah, that would make me say damn it as well. Who's your daddy?
That's the same game I was going to say. Was USC game. I'm not.
How about the comeback of the Alabama Crimson Tide over the Volunteers of Tennessee? Amazing comeback.
Two different halves.
Amazing comeback by Alabama.
And to the point, there's whispers that Milton will not start this week. I mean, there's whispers of this, and I'm like, you're crazy.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. That was on my Told You So for Alabama, just because I had that with Will Ferrell, who bought us a beer, by the way.
Thanks, Will.
So,
Thanks, Will.
Yeah, so I had that as my Told You So for Alabama. Does anyone else have a good quality damn for me? What's it got, Ripper the Predictor?
Cleveland Browns place kicker Dustin Hopkins.
This is college football.
Kickers are people too.
But I'll let you do it. Go.
This is guys at the bar talking sports. I'm trying to talk sports, guy.
All right, go, guy.
So, hey, no sidebars when I'm talking, all right?
Yeah.
So, Dustin Hopkins hits 3 50-plus yard field goals this past Sunday, 54, 54, and 58. Becomes the first NFL kicker in NFL history to hit a 50-plus field goal in 5 straight games.
That's pretty impressive. Damn. Who's in beast mode right now? So, I had Marvin Harrison Jr. in beast mode right now, and that's the reason why. Against Penn State, 11 catches, 162 yards, and 1 touchdown.
Put a guy in Penn State.
Insane guy. Insane play right there. Anyone else? Boom, go.
I've been a naysayer. I'm still not sold yet, but beast mode right now to me are the Michigan Wolverines. I mean,
62 to nothing.
Stole my
They are playing
49-0.
well.
49? Oh,
and they're not keeping games close. Like they're getting ahead of it and moving on. And I'm not sold on them yet, but I'm starting to be a little impressed. So
yeah.
You know who was in beast mode on Sunday? Travis Kelce. Every time Lover shows up, he plays like a beast.
And another beast mode in another sport was Garcia for Texas.
I'm going to let you go with that. Roll with it.
Set a record for runs batted in a playoff series.
That's pretty awesome.
Home run in every game.
What is this little miniature pint glass going on right here? Kipster.
Beast mode.
Sorry, Ripper the Predictor.
Beast mode. Myles Garrett.
Oh, yeah.
2 forced fumbles, a blocked field goal, and a strip sack.
Where he jumped over the whole entire offensive line and blocked the field goal.
hey man, you got to give Browns fans their moment when they have them. Let them do
Right.
it.
It's Brown.
We didn't even have a team for years.
Right, Cleveland's 4-2, baby. 4-2.
Nice, all
Beast
right.
mode.
I don't even know what that means in NFL football, but
No quarterback. We have no quarterback.
Oh,
yeah.
come on, Rub and Tug will get it
Yeah,
there.
He's not even playing. We got freaking PJ Walker.
Well, crap, I got a beast mode for you. Mac Jones, baby, at the New England Patriots, beating up on those butts.
Hey, this is college football.
Bills. Hey, as a Patriots fan, we have got to figure out something to talk about, okay? And it's been a rough go.
I'll just start releasing my NFL bets so you know who not to bet on.
Yes. Hey, which game was a ballroom brawl last weekend? That.
Come on, too.
All right, Cheeks is so excited about this. I'm going to let you go first, Cheeks.
I know you guys are really into these teams, so I wanted to bring this up. And it is Bluffton University and Manchester University.
That was a crazy game.
That was. It was a crazy game. Ended in a bench clearing brawl.
Yeah.
And the last 90 seconds were not played because they were beating the snot out of each other.
So that's what we really mean by barroom brawl?
No, I have no idea.
Okay.
That's the best I could do.
Just like in the playoff series in baseball, once again, Texas and Houston, a brawl.
Brawl,
Clear the
yeah.
benches.
They
Yeah.
did,
I think
okay.
Chicks was at that, bro. Like, she's got a splinter on her finger over there. Watch her left hook.
Penn State, Ohio State was a barroom brawl. That thing went down to the very end pretty much. Ohio State was able to pull away and win, but that game could have gone anyway, you know?
Mine was Texas-Houston. Houston came out and hit Texas in the mouth. I mean, they gave them every bit they wanted, and quite frankly, if not for a 4th and inches call that's very questionable at the end of the game, I think Houston beats Texas last weekend.
I think
Yeah,
they did too.
and Texas is not, or Houston is not as good as they've been in the past
Correct.
this year. So that was a
Now, granted,
surprise.
Ewers got knocked out, so they were on their backup quarterback, which you never know what you're going to get. But they always will tell you your success is always only as good as your backup quarterback.
It wasn't about the offense.
True.
That's true. All right, so hey, sometimes we have to pick who's going to win and who's going to lose, and we depend upon one person only on this show in order to figure out who's going to win and who's going to lose, and that is my man, Landon the Legend, with his legendary picks. Go ahead, Landon. Take it away.
Utah, Texas, Louisville, Florida, Wisconsin, Kansas.
So, my man, Landon the Legend, went with all the home teams this week because I think statistically he knows home teams are more likely to win, right? So that's just the way it is. So let's go ahead and talk. Yeah, he's probably a smart kid. But I don't know about he's a smart kid with one of those games. We're going to start with that game while we're thinking about it. And this is a game that I do not think has any chance of being an upset, but I did put it on our list because sometimes Wisconsin can come out there and win some games, right? But not this season. They have a brand new coach in Luke Fickell. I don't see this happening. What are you looking at me for?
Hey, I mean,
All right,
Wisconsin,
take it away, Ripper.
Wisconsin's 5-2 right now. Camp Randall is not an easy place to go play. Luke Fickell, their head coach, has got a formidable defense anywhere he goes.
That's what I was going to say about this team.
A lot of things could happen. You never know. Ohio State's offense has not found any sort of rhythm outside of Marvin Harrison Jr. They literally cannot run the ball, and they have survived. They've got 2 top 10 wins, and it has nothing to do with the offensive side of the ball. It's only because of their defense. So this is a potential
who's his
upset.
favorite team?
Yes.
See, this is what Ripper's doing, though. He's playing the humility card and playing it
thank
down.
you.
He did the same thing again with Penn State when we were texting back and forth. He's playing it down.
There we go.
And then when they win, he's puffing the chest out.
I don't think that Ripper pumps the
Is that what they
chest
call
out,
you?
though.
Is that what they call you? Never mind. Let's move on.
So what is it going to take for Wisconsin to upset the Ohio State Buckeyes then?
For them to get what do they call it, dysentery and be sitting on the toilet all day.
Snow.
Dysentery is when you can't go poop, actually.
I do
Diarrhea
see the weaknesses. What Ripper's talking about. I do see the weaknesses that they have, and that it is Marvin Harrison Jr. that is kind of carrying the team on the offense. They can't really run the ball. Defensively, they're strong as they're just fine on defense.
Here's the problem. Wisconsin, their wins: Buffalo, Georgia Southern, Purdue, Rutgers, and Illinois. That's their 5 wins.
Rutgers is 5-2.
They lost to Iowa, and they lost their only ranked opponent they played was Washington State, who beat them. So I think it's this: the record ain't going to matter if they've not played anybody worth shooting but one team. I mean, and you played Iowa and lost. That's pretty bad.
They held Iowa to 15 points. I mean, come on.
Exactly.
Because Iowa can't
That's
score.
about their
That's
about their average.
That's about what they average. Yeah, exactly. So
I think they averaged 19.5.
They played about an average game against Iowa and still lost.
Correct.
Now that might have been a fluke. Who knows? But they are playing in Wisconsin. The only reason I put this on our list to talk about is because I wanted Ripper to stay humble and realize that this is a team that's probably, I don't know, they're not going to win. Jesus Christ. Why are we even talking about this
Did I
game?
do what you asked?
Yeah, I guess so. So let's move on.
27-10 Ohio State.
27-10 Ohio
I think
State.
it's bigger than that.
I think it's bigger than that,
Oh,
too.
it's gonna be way bigger
42
than
to
10.
14.
42 to 17 or something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they got a really good
Mercy
running back
rule.
though. 6'2", 245.
Wisconsin always has good running backs.
Yeah, they do, but Ohio State has a pretty good defense, and even on the running side, they can stop the run. I mean, they did it against Penn State. Penn State has some of the best running backs in the country, and Penn State put up less than 100 yards running on the ground.
45.
Yeah, I mean, it was.
So who's counting?
Yeah, it was bad.
Wisconsin's biggest problem, I think, just it's kind of a sidebar there. It's kind of some of Nebraska's same thing. Wisconsin and Nebraska always got them big corn-fed boys up front. They're not getting those guys anymore. Their offensive line is not what it used to be to give the quarterback protection or to give the running backs holes to run through.
What's hurting Wisconsin offensively is they got a decent transfer in Tanner Mordecai out of SMU. He's hurt. The guy that's backing him up is like 51% passing. And it's a new offensive system. So, they're a couple of years from now, they're probably going to be pretty solid. Right now, they just don't have the offensive firepower to keep up with an average Ohio State offense.
Let's talk about a team that probably has a chance of beating a top 10 team this week. We're going to talk about we're not going there yet. I'm not that confident in the Gators, guys. Come on.
I am.
Come on, okay. But Kansas is hosting number 6 Oklahoma. Now, we saw what happened to Oklahoma against UCF, and Kansas beat UCF 51-22. Now, this is a team in Kansas that's 5-2. They have the ability to win this game, and I think that Oklahoma, this is the one on my list that is the most likely to happen, and I think it's going to happen. I'm going to put that on. I'm going to put that out there. I'm going to say Kansas wins this game. It's in Kansas. It's at home. 33,000 people in that stadium, boy, they're going to be wild. I tell you what. Rocking that thing.
Rock Jayhawk, right?
Lawrence is going wild, huh?
I do like Dylan Gabriel at Oklahoma. He has a good group of receivers around him. It's an offense that can put up some points. I believe that's true. And I think that Oklahoma has a defense that's rock solid as well. But I just think Kansas has them to win this game, guys. And everyone's saying no. So, you know what?
I think that last week was Oklahoma's stumble. Okay,
that was their piece of humble pie.
when the defense got running after Brett Venables had them at practice at 7 a.m. on Sunday morning, they are not going to come back to that stadium and do that again. They're not going to come back and play that way again. So I don't think that Kansas has I think it's going to be a decent game. What we've seen out of Kansas so far is decent first halves, terrible second halves. I think we'll see more of the same. I think it's going to be a great first half. Take Oklahoma in the second half when they run away from the Jayhawks.
Yeah, this game will be very similar to the Duke-Florida State game last weekend, right?
So
close first half. Oklahoma runs away with it in the end. They don't lose to Kansas. I mean, you don't lose to Kansas when you're Oklahoma. You just don't do that.
Only in basketball.
You just don't do that.
But they do lose to Kansas State.
No, if you're Oklahoma football, you don't lose to Kansas.
But this week they do lose to Kansas because that little home team advantage doesn't really work that well in Kansas because they don't even fill up a stadium half the time.
All I know is next week one of you two is going to say, "I told you so."
That's right.
That's right.
That's right. No, I don't think they're the most likely to have the surprise.
You don't. So of the ones that are of the top 25 matchups, this is the one that's most likely. Mark my words. Unless all y'all agree that Florida is the most likely one.
I agree.
So does everyone agree that Florida is the most likely one? We'll talk about that game right now. I'm gonna move it up on my schedule to talk about the most important game of the week, which is definitely the Florida-Georgia game in Jacksonville, the world's largest cocktail party. Yeah. I've been there once. It was fun.
That sounds
but
fun.
I wish I could go again, but the tickets are way too much unless we start making money off the show and we get to go for free.
And do it live.
And we get to do it live from the show, yeah. So what's going to happen during this game? I'm going to let you take this, Rebel. What's going to happen? Georgia versus Florida. Where do you see first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, and then the final part of this
First
game?
quarter, you'll have a little bit of competitiveness off the emotion, the overhype of it. They're coming out strong.
Last year it was 3-0 at the half,
and then it goes downhill in a hurry.
And that's what happened last
so,
season as well.
Honestly, what I think Florida, the extra motivation here, and really it doesn't have any control over the players. If Florida somehow, some way can pull this out, it saves Billy Napier. The conversations about whether he will be there next year go away immediately if he wins this ball game. But my opinion, they don't get it done because, again, you're still the best team in the country until you get knocked off. And that's a matter of fact.
Ripper, I see you're pointing your finger up, so that must mean you got something to say.
Or he wants a beer.
Good job today, by the way.
Florida. Yeah, I'm trying real hard not to have my sidebars.
I know.
So, Florida, they got 2 losses. Where were they at?
Florida has 2 losses.
At Utah.
At Utah. At Kentucky.
Yep.
Yeah, both high
Now,
altitude
Georgia.
places.
Now, Georgia didn't demolish Kentucky, but that was in Georgia. That was in Athens.
Bluegrass of
Yes.
Kentucky.
Bulldogs are going to the swamp.
No, they're not going to the swamp. They're going to
Jacksonville.
Jacksonville. Half the stadium is in orange and blue.
It's swampy in Jacksonville.
It's pretty
I
swampy
am
in
going
It smells like
with
a swamp.
Florida.
You're going with Florida.
I'm going Florida.
That's my man right there.
Look,
Going
I'm
with
telling
Florida.
you right now, I was at the Florida Gamecock.
Brock Bowers is still out, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
I was at the Florida Gamecock game. Florida runs one of the most predictable offenses in the
Florida
country.
runs one of the most predictable.
100%.
So,
Their passing game is reliant on 2 plays. It's either the slant or the post. That's all they've got.
but every time that they there's like 3 men in motion. There's 3 movements on the offense every
Sounds like
time.
a sitcom.
Ooh, that's called smoky mirrors, Ray. That's called bad offense. Georgia will shut down their offense. They'll be lucky to score 13 points.
Florida only scores 13 points.
Correct.
I think that's what I
Wow,
actually said.
that is a bold prediction there, Rooster.
I said 17.
I don't think they'll get double digits.
Hoosier, Daddy, bring it in, man. Tell me what's going on.
Georgia's defense will take Florida and just crisp them up. It might be 3-0 at halftime, and Florida's not going to have the 3.
Listen though, so 2 quarterbacks are playing in this game, right? You have
It depends on who gets hurt.
Usually.
yeah, exactly. You have Carson Beck, 2,100 yards passing this season. You have Florida's quarterback Graham Mertz, 1,899 yards passing this season so far. 2 good offenses, both of them top 25 offenses right now. Georgia's number 6 or number 7 overall in offense. That's pretty solid.
Over
for a
500
Georgia-
yards a game.
Yeah, they're number 2 overall. I think they're number 6 overall yards for an offense. That is what I'm
Who
understanding.
did Georgia play last week?
Who did Georgia? No, nobody played anybody. So they're both coming off a bye week.
Yep.
So they're both
In
preparing.
the last game before that, Georgia played against Vanderbilt. Do you know that Vanderbilt had not scored a touchdown in 5 years against Georgia? Do you think the defense had some work to do in 2 weeks? Florida doesn't stand a chance.
But it's still the same group of players that's coming out from the Vanderbilt game. Yes, they might be coached up a little bit better. They might be more on top of their game.
How many straws are you going to grasp at? Conversation in this game.
I say the 3 of us against the 3 of you guys. We predict Georgia's going to win, and if we're right, you buy us beer.
Hey, listeners, we need some beer to cover this bet. So
Put your beer where your mouth is.
And if we win,
Yeah,
y'all
okay,
buy us
yeah.
y'all
I'll
buy
do
us
that.
2 beers. Though.
He wants
I'm okay with that. I'll talk
I'm okay with that too. I'll buy you
okay
2
with
beers.
I think that Florida has an incredible chance, and I've been one of the naysayers all along with Florida, but they've done well. But they have an incredible chance this weekend to put all that to bed, right? To say we are a pretty good team. We're a legit team.
I heard
And
the
think
same
they come out and
conversation
do
last
that.
week
I think
about
they come out and
Auburn
do
and Ole
that.
Miss.
Yeah.
Army had a chance to do that
damn.
against
No.
LSU.
Ow.
hey, man,
Florida's though.
I was in the Army.
I know.
You guys are doing.
That's why I'm against
okay.
LSU being in the
Sorry.
playoffs.
I'm looking forward to
Always
2
rooting
beers.
for the anti-hero.
Let's do it.
All right, let's talk about a game that's less important than the Georgia game.
Bo.
Georgia-Florida game. And we're going to talk about the number 20 Duke Blue Devils
Oh.
and the number 18 Louisville. This is a good matchup.
This might be the most competitive game
That's
all
what,
week.
that's what I was thinking. This
Yeah.
might be the best game of the week as in competition because both teams can score. But the thing is that the quarterback over at Duke, what's his name, Riley Leonard, is injured right now. Are y'all talking
Hey,
across
yeah,
the table
yeah.
again?
No, we're measuring
I'm gonna start
ourselves
over.
against each
Start
other.
over.
I don't want to know. I don't want to know what y'all are measuring against each other. But
No
we don't
sword
need.
fights.
Are y'all measuring hands to see what else is bigger or what? Is that what y'all are doing?
That's
Arms.
it.
We're measuring the girth of our arms.
Okay.
Oh, God.
You know what they think about big hands.
Anyway,
big gloves.
All right, this is two unlikely teams in the top 25, but this is also a team in Duke that lost last week to FSU. They're coming back for vengeance, in my opinion. The only thing is that their quarterback went down with an injury last week. He is day-to-day right now. They'll tell you on Saturday if he's playing or not. What do you think about this Rebel? Go.
I just think it's going to. Whose defense is better? I think the offense is pretty comparable. I think it's whoever's defense plays better wins the game. I think it's a 3-point, 6-point game.
I think Duke has the better defense overall.
I think so too. I mean, I think again both are very unexpected to be here. I think Duke finds a way to pull it out. Believe it or not, that's just the feeling I get because I feel like overall they got more talent than Louisville does.
I pick Louisville, but I'm wondering who the blonde would choose. She hates Louisville. She hates Duke.
She hopes that they tie.
She hopes they tie. Yeah. They go into like quadruple duple.
No, there's a COVID breakout and they can't play the game. That's what she's hoping.
Yeah.
I mean,
so
to be honest with you, I think Louisville's overrated. I know they only got one loss and they beat Notre Dame pretty soundly. But then they turned around the next weekend and lost to a not a good team in Pittsburgh.
Yeah,
so it's
that's
like
true.
You got Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde going on still a little bit in Louisville. Good coach, but still.
Worse, Duke, their loss is to Florida State. Legitimately a good team.
And Notre Dame.
Did they lose to Notre Dame? I thought they were one. They thought they were only lost. Oh, they did. Okay.
They lost to Notre Dame. So,
close game they lost.
But and their quarterback is still hobbling around a little bit as well. We saw that last week with very limited mobility against Florida State team. Usually a guy that was willing to take off out of the pocket wasn't willing to do that as much last week. I think he only had 3 or 4 times when he actually ran the ball for gains. So I think this the two beat up teams. I do think Louisville's overrated. You look at some of their wins. NC State, they only won by 3. Pittsburgh, they lost to. It just depends on what team shows up because then the next thing you know, they turn around and they look like world beaters when they beat up on Notre Dame. So I think overall, I think Louisville is actually going to win this game.
Does anybody think?
That's my pick.
Does anyone think that there's a possibility that BYU goes to Texas and wins this game? The way that Texas has been playing, I just don't feel like Texas has been playing on the top of their game. And then on top of that, Quinn Ewers is out. He's done.
My thing is this: you can look every year. BYU always seems to jump up to the prize. One team a year, whether they're good or bad, they always seem to get an upset win every year. And at the end of the day, like you said, I think Ewers being out is going to be the deciding factor because Texas' backup did not look that great last week against Houston. So, do I think BYU goes into Texas and wins? No, but it'll be closer than it should be.
Yeah. So Malik Murphy is the backup quarterback at Texas. He did not play well last week, you said. I think he went out. I think Quinn Ewers went out for like one or a half of a game.
Second half.
No, not last week. Like in the beginning of the season, he came in for a couple of plays as well. He's more of the guy that you'd bring in to like run the ball and stuff like that.
Yeah, it changes their offense completely.
Yeah, exactly. BYU might be the type of team that you can do some of those little tricky plays on and stuff. I mean, who knows? But BYU is one of those teams that can come in there and throw this thing up.
I agree 100% that they can come in and surprise you. They've actually played a pretty strong schedule this year and have beat good teams. They beat Arkansas. They played, an SEC team at least. They played Kansas right down the wire. They beat Cincinnati. They got beat up a little bit against Texas or TCU. But wouldn't surprise me after what Texas did last week without their quarterback if BYU has enough gunpowder on their offense to beat Texas. I'm not a Texas believer right now.
Shakes, have you been following these BYU? What are they? The Cougars. The Cougars.
Who hasn't been following a Cougar?
I'm a Cougar. I follow them.
I did not mean to make that into a joke, by the way. Who's your daddy? Your thoughts on that game?
Texas, I just think by it being at Texas, and I think BYU will play close.
Yeah.
But I think Texas will end up still pulling it out being the close.
It is at Texas.
Yeah, it's at Texas. I mean, this is a game that is on my list because I just feel like BYU may have it in them, and Texas is down at quarterback. Yeah. And Quinn Ewers is a game changer. I mean, he's somebody that could help you win games that you otherwise wouldn't have. I think they would win this game anyway without him. But hey, and they probably
move on.
Yeah, it's time.
Running out of time.
So, did we talk about the only top 25 matchup
Nope.
yet?
Yes.
That's number 8 Oregon versus number 13 Utah. Now, my man Chopper over here is the biggest Bo Nix fan on the planet.
Oh, yeah.
What do you think is going to happen in this game?
Yeah, Oregon all day long. They recover.
They recover. So
Yeah,
They were fine last week.
they were fine last week.
I mean, they're still recovering from their loss to Washington.
They are.
They are.
So-
It was a
Yeah,
close
they beat
game.
Utah. Yeah,
Was it good?
they beat Utah.
This is two teams that have pretty solid
It's a barroom
defenses,
brawl.
in my opinion.
Hey,
What's that mean?
I like Oregon
Utah's
sneaking in
putting
the
up a lot
Final
of points.
Four. I really do.
That's true. I think Utah last season had the defense. This season they're like good but not great. I would say that. I think Oregon wins this game only because I look at Oregon. They have the most dynamic offense, probably one of the most dynamic offenses in the country with Bo Nix. They also have a better defense than Utah.
Most starts by any player in the history of any sport ever.
I don't know if I would say that's a compliment or not.
Because
football,
he's
not
been
any
playing
sport
for
ever.
25 years.
He's the most experienced player in the
Because he's
history of
82
ever.
years
of
old,
ever.
college quarterback.
Ever.
Take that, Brett Favre.
Yeah.
He's about to take his kids to grad school.
3 years away
grade
from
school.
Social Security.
All right, quickly, what's your play on this team?
I think it's just more of an emotional thing. I think Utah got up. They had a big emotional win last week. I think they have a letdown this week, even at home, because it's hard to get up for 2 games like that in consecutive weeks. So therefore, I think Oregon does. I think it's a low scoring tight game. Utah will keep that offense in check, but Oregon wins by a touchdown.
What's
By a
the
touchdown.
elevation?
Okay, it's like 6,000 feet.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
I
in
picked
Oregon, I don't
Elevation
know.
matters.
Elevation
Only
does
against
matter.
Florida.
Come on, y'all are gonna get me. Are we ever gonna drop this joke?
Never.
What the fuck, y'all?
What the fuck?
Big John!
What the fuck?
How you doing?
My man's wearing Tennessee, so
Tennessee.
I think he goes to the beer.
Brave man.
Are they even?
Hey, you got some crap on your shirt there.
I don't give a shit about that. It's a playoff season. That's what the fuck. Y'all got notes and shit, man. I ad lib, man. With facts. Right? It's legit.
Love it.
All right.
Love it.
Ripper the
That is the whitest turd I've ever seen.
Oh, wow.
you'll deal with him in a minute.
I would tear his.
What the
butt up.
fuck? What the fuck? We talking about? We've got TikToks, we've got Facebook, we've got a podcast, we've got advertisement, we got all of this good fun stuff happening. We don't got no merch. What the fuck? We need to get some guys at the bar talking sport.
Get the Kelsey
Merch.
brothers on.
Oh,
See me after the show.
I once made shirts.
See me after the show.
What the fuck?
What the
Hey,
fuck?
can you grab Rebel a drink as well?
Yeah.
Thank you. All right. Who's your daddy? What the fuck, bro?
Kevin Sumlin. There's
Ooh.
a guy making bukus of money. What's he do? Assistant coach with Maryland. Goes out and gets picked up for DUI when you could hire a manager or nowadays Uber.
An
Why are you
intern.
driving after you drink when you're making all that kind of money?
What the
fuck?
fuck?
Kevin Sumlin. I can't believe it.
Rebel, what the fuck, bro?
You'll appreciate mine because this is in your wheelhouse.
I will.
Yes, yeah, I posted this on our Facebook page. Go take a look at it. Tom Brady, in all of his career as an NFL quarterback, never played in a game where he was out of playoff contention.
What
Never
the fuck?
in his career was when he stepped on the field were they out of the playoffs.
What the fuck?
What the fuck? That's pretty impressive. What the fuck?
My what the
Rooster?
fuck is a little closer to home here. Clemson up by 10 going to the fourth quarter. They end up in overtime against Miami. They call a run play. The quarterback yanks the ball out of the running back's belly and tries to do it all himself. Gets tackled for a 9-yard loss, loses the game. What the fuck?
They
Hey, Klubnik. Klubnik.
What the fuck?
What the fuck? Chopper, what the fuck, dude?
Yeah, so my Auburn Tigers, right? First time back-to-back losses to Ole Miss since like 1951. What the fuck? It's incredible. It's terrible.
You look like somebody kicked your dog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You totally
That's why you
stole.
haven't shaved.
Back-to-back losses to Ole Miss. That's bad.
You totally stole my what the fuck.
That was it.
No. Cheeks, what the fuck?
My what the fuck was bad officiating over the weekend.
Oh, it was awful.
It was everything from college football to the NFL. And yes, I'm an Eagles fan, but there were some missed calls. I will admit it.
Iowa Hawkeyes fans are still crying about the
Yeah.
ghost fair catch.
Yeah, the guy was yelling Peter. They called him for a fair catch.
He was clearing his team members out, and Iowa ended up losing the game because they have no offense. What the
fuck?
But they did get an apology letter.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Speaking of calls, I heard last call.
Last call.
And my last call question is, we'll be fast about this. I'll go first, just to make it quick. Predict the first 3 draft picks of the season. Michael Penix Jr., Marvin Harrison Jr., and Caleb Williams. Go.
Yeah.
Who's your daddy?
I second those 3 picks right there.
No.
All right, go.
Number 1, Drake May. Number 2, Marvin Harrison Jr. Number 3, J.J. McCarthy.
All right. Wow.
I like your first 2. Bo Nix, number 3.
All right. Give it to me.
It's hard to say this because you don't know who's coming out, you know who's staying in, you don't know who's going to need what, when, where, how. If you're taking a quarterback, you're taking Mayor Hartman in one of the first 2 picks. If you're taking a receiver, Harrison Jr. is heads above. If you're taking a running back, you're taking Davis out of Kentucky.
All right. Wow.
I'm going to throw one person that nobody's talking about. Maybe the future Travis Kelce is Brock Bowers. I don't care if he had surgery
I have
or
him.
not.
He's my number 1.
And I don't think a quarterback is going to be in the top 3 this year.
I don't think
No,
so either
I
because they all drafted him last year.
I agree. I have Brock number 1. I have Drake number 2, and Marvin number 3.
All right. We know who the top 3 are going to be then. The top 10, I guess, are going to be, if that's the case. If we go with all of those. So that is all for episode 12 of season 4 of Guys in the Bar on Sports. Thank you all for joining us. Keep on coming back. Listen to some more, guys. Bye-bye.
Sports!
See ya!